The rainy season is almost coming to an end, and the festive season is about to begin. We can all celebrate in the festivities of the state. Be happy, and so should you always be. Welcome once again to News Analysis. News Analysis, a weekly magazine on current affairs. To begin with, the main points in a nutshell. Protests hit Sidi Bouzid after historic Tunisia poll. Nicolas Sarkozy, Greece should have been denied euro. Daily aspirin blocks bowel cancer. US flies drones from Ethiopia to fight Somali militants. Afghanistan, Pakistan army denies backing Taliban. Saudi Arabia names Prince Nayef as heir to the throne. And now the news in detail. Protests hit Sidi Bouzid after a historic Tunisia poll. Violent protests have erupted in central Tunisia after the results of the country's first democratic election in decades were announced. Police used tear gas against hundreds of people in Sidi Bouzid who were protesting against the cancellation of seats won by one of the parties. The town is the birthplace of unrest which erupted earlier this year, triggering the Arab Spring uprisings. The Islamist Ennahda party won last Sunday's elections. Official results show the Ennahda secured more than 41% of the vote, which gives 90 seats in the 217-member parliament. Party leader Rachid Ghanouchi said the government would continue with the aims of revolution, saying Tunisia was for everyone. Sunday's poll took place 9 months after President Zain al-Abidine Ben Ali was ousted. On Thursday evening, hundreds of people marched through the Sidi Bouzid protesting against the cancellation of seats won by Popular List Party in 6 electoral districts. The electoral authorities said the party's candidate list had been invalidated because of the financial irregularities. The Popular List Party, led by London-based businessman Hakemi Hamidi, had won a number of seats in Sidi Bouzid. Reports say the protesters smashed doors and windows of the Ennahda headquarters in the town and also burned tires on the streets. Police fired tear gas to disperse the crowds. Earlier on Thursday, the Electoral Commission proclaimed Ennahda as the winner of Sunday's elections. At a news conference in Tunis, election chief Kamal Janaoudi said the party would have 90 seats in parliament. Nicolas Sarkozy, Greece should have been denied euro. French President Nicolas Sarkozy has said allowing Greece into the eurozone in 2001 was a mistake. He said Greece was not ready at the time, but he added it could be rescued thanks to Wednesday's European Union deal on the euro debt crisis. In response to Greece's foreign minister told the BBC and the other reporters that Athens was not source of the crisis and no country should be made a scapegoat. The agreement reached in Brussels has been triggered a worldwide shares rally. In a TV interview on Thursday, Mr. Sarkozy said admitting Greece to the Eurozone had been a mistake because of the country had entered with false economic figures. It was not ready. He added that he was confident that the current Greek government would emerge from the crisis and that Wednesday's deal has averted a catastrophe. If Greece had defaulted, there would have been a domino effect carrying everyone away, Mr. Sarkozy said. Speaking to the BBC and other reports, Greek Foreign Minister Stavros Lambrinidis said Greece is in the middle of a storm, but it's not source of the problems of the European debt and deficits. We see this as Portugal, Ireland, Spain and Italy, so it doesn't help scapegoat a particular country when you are dealing with European problem. The comments come after European leaders clinched a deal at marathon talks in Brussels. The main provisions are banks holding Greek debt are to accept 50% loss. A new mechanism is to boost the Eurozone's main bailout fund, the European Financial Stability Facility, to about €1 trillion. Banks must also raise more capital to guard against losses resulting from any future government defaults. The agreement is aimed at preventing the crisis from spreading to larger Eurozone economies, but the leaders said the work still needed to be done. Finance Reporters says European Union leaders have bought some time and the markets will give them the benefit of doubt for a few weeks or months. On Friday, Klaus Regling, chief executive of EFSF, held talks in Beijing as the Eurozone bloc continued its efforts to persuade China and other emerging economies to help rescue it from its crippling debt crisis. Analysts say that the possible Chinese investment could be up to $100 billion, Reporters in Beijing reports. But China is seeking guarantee from Europe that its investments will be safe, our reporter says. Daily aspirin blocks bowel cancer. A daily dose of aspirin should be given to people at high risk of bowel cancer, say scientists. 2 pills a day for 2 years reduce the incidence of bowel cancer by 63% in a group of 861 at-risk patients, a study reported in The Lancet says. Newcastle University professor Sir John Byrne, who led the study, said the evidence seems overwhelmingly strong. Other experts said the findings added to a growing body of proof that the aspirin could be used to fight the cancer. The study was conducted on 861 patients with Lynch syndrome, which affects 1 in every 1,000 people. They struggle to detect and repair damaged DNA, which means they are more likely to develop a range of cancers, including those of the bowel, womb, and stomach. When looking at all patients in the trial, those in the group given 600 milligrams of aspirin every day developed 19% tumors compared to 34% tumors in other control group, a reduction of 44%. When the researchers looked at just those patients who took the medication for at least 2 years, the reduction was 63%. There was also an effect on other cancers linked to Lynch syndrome, which fell by half in the treatment group. Professor Sir John Byrne from the Newcastle University said there were 30,000 adults in UK with Lynch syndrome. If all were given the treatment, he said it would prevent 10,000 cancer over 30 years, and he speculated that this could possibly prevent 1,000 deaths from the disease. However, there would also be side effects. If we can prevent 10,000 cancers in return for 1,000 ulcers and 100 strokes, in most people's minds that's a good deal, he said. People who have got a clear family history of particularly bowel cancer should seriously consider adding low-dose aspirin to their routine, and particularly those people who have got a genetic predisposition. Aspirin is already well known to reduce the risk of heart attack and stroke in high-risk patients. Other studies over the past 2 decades have suggested the painkiller reduced cancer risk, but it was the first randomized controlled trial specifically for the aspirin in cancer to prove it. US flies drones from Ethiopia to fight Somali militants. The US military has begun flying drone aircraft from the base in Ethiopia as part of its fight against Islamist militants in neighboring Somalia. US officials have confirmed to the reporters that the base in the southern city of Arab Minch is now operational. But they stressed that remotely piloted drones were being used only for surveillance and not for airstrikes. It's part of the growing counter-terrorism presence in the region as the U.S. pursues groups with Al-Qaeda links. The U.S. military has reportedly spent millions of dollars upgrading the remote civilian airport from which Reaper drones are now being flown. The remotely piloted aircraft can be equipped with missiles, satellite-guided bombs, etc. But officials have told the reporters the drones are flying unarmed because of their use is considered sensitive by Ethiopia's government. Their role is surveillance of the Al-Shabaab militant group based in Somalia and already the focus of drone missions flown from other bases in the region. Pakistan Army denies backing Taliban. The Pakistan Army has strongly denied claims made by the BBC documentary that the Pakistani security services are supporting the Taliban in Afghanistan. Pakistani Army spokesman Major General Attar Abbas described the allegations made by US and Afghan officials as baseless and malicious. General Abbas said ISI, Pakistani Secret Service, has itself suffered at the hands of Al-Qaeda and its affiliates, saying about 300 officials had died in attacks. You think it's sane for any intelligence operator to harbor people who will attack its own men? He asked. He also claimed that Pakistan was being used as a scapegoat for the situation in Afghanistan. The performance of all intelligence agencies in Afghanistan has been miserable. That's why they want to dump this on Pakistan and the ISI, he said. Saudi Arabia names Prince Nayef as heir to throne. Saudi Arabia has named Prince Nayef bin Abdulaziz Al Saud as the heir to throne of King Abdullah. The move follows the death of last week of the previous crown prince, Sultan bin Abdul Aziz. The new crown prince, aged 78, has been the oil-rich kingdom's interior minister since 1975 and will now also become deputy prime minister. King Abdullah, 87, is recovering from his third operation to treat back problems in less than a year. Prince Nayef is brother of the late Crown Prince Sultan and, like his brother, is regarded as less reform-minded than King Abdullah. He has been Interior Minister since 1975. A royal court statement read out on state television said the Crown Prince had been appointed after the King met the Allegiance Council, a family body set up in 2006 to make the process of succession in conservative Islamic kingdom smoother and more orderly. The succession in Saudi Arabia still passes among the sons of King Abdulaziz, who established the modern Saudi kingdom during his reign from 1902 to 1953. Next in the line is expected to be Crown Prince Nayef's younger brother, Prince Salman, who is governor to Riyadh.